You notice that it's a little more difficult to get your home sold? Welcome to 2023. If you're a seller and you're wondering why it is that your beautiful home is still sitting on the market and not selling, let's talk about what you can do about it. These are the top 10 reasons why your home may not be selling. Let's start with number 10. Location, location, location. So if your home is in a challenging area, maybe it's on a busy street or near some train tracks or next to a commercial area, buyers are a little more discriminating about where they choose to purchase their home or invest. So if that's the case, be honest about that, but look at the positive aspects of that. If you're closer to a commercial area, maybe there's restaurants or entertainment centers that are close by that can actually be more of a positive spin on being in a busier area. So be honest about it, but think about it from a positive perspective. How might that be an advantage to the right buyer for your home? Number 9, unique or unusual feature. So maybe your daughter or your son loves a beautiful shade of purple. And so you leave their room in that color. For the right person, that purple color is not going to be an issue. But from the average buyer, sometimes they have a difficult time seeing past what the design aesthetic is of the home. So if you have any unique features in your home that maybe you love, look at it again from the perspective of a potential buyer. You want to be able to cast the widest net, so to speak. So keeping things more neutral in tone, depersonalizing the home, and I'll talk about that in more depth a little later. That's a critical key. So look at your home objectively. Remember, it's no longer your home, it's your property. And that takes a little bit of a mental shift. Your home is a place where you live and you have memories and it's personal to you. But when you go to sell it, it's now becoming, you have to make that switch and make it as it's a property. Now it's an investment, it's an asset. And so look at it objectively. Make sure if you do have any unique features that you look at them from the eyes of somebody brand new walking into the home who's going to probably be looking for things more neutral. They need to be able to see themselves in your home. So the more neutral, the less personalized, the better. Remember, it's going from your home to a property. Number 8, unresponsive or difficult sellers. I know this doesn't apply to most of you watching this video, but sometimes if you're delayed in responding to inquiries or your agent is delayed in responding to inquiries, that could be a turnoff. As the market sits today, fall of 2023, it is somewhat a competitive market. And that's just because we don't have very much inventory in the market at the moment. So even though we don't have the volume of buyers in the market that we once had, we are still seeing, at least in the North Dallas area, we are still seeing multiple offers on the right property. So you do want to make sure that you're answering, or your agent is answering questions quickly, making sure you get the buyers the information they need to be able to make a decision. So don't make it harder than it needs to be. Make sure your home is available to be seen. If the more restrictive the hours are, the more difficult it is for a buyer to be able to see your home. And at the end of the day, that's what you want. You want the right buyer to walk through the doors and fall in love with your property and make you an excellent offer. So be flexible, be agreeable to it within reason, obviously, but make it where it's easy. Less friction is better. Number 7, unattractive photos. So your first exposure to the market is through the photos that are taken of your property. So gone really are the days of, just going to market with just the photos that your realtor or you took with your phone. You want to put your best foot forward. So having professional photography is worth its weight in gold. Again, you cannot make a first impression a second time. And so it's important to make sure that you have a professional photographer who knows how to shoot real estate and can show your property in the best possible light. So that way you get the most amount of buyers into or interested in your property. Pretty much 90% of buyers start their home search online. And so if they fall in love with the photos that they see of your home, they're absolutely going to want to investigate and come see it. So make sure you take the time to get professional photos done. It's a little bit of a cost, but it's worth it in the long run if it brings you the right buyer and the time frame that you need them to show up for. Number six, now you may think I'm crazy here, but number six is unpleasant odors. And so again, look at it. It's not your home anymore. It's a property. And so you want it to be as neutral as possible. So maybe you're a chef or you like to cook with a lot of spices and you love that. And so some of those smells can linger and you may not even smell it anymore. And so because you're so used to it. So if you're not sure whether or not there's an unpleasant odor, or even if you're a candles person, which I am, not every candle is everyone's favorite. And so there may be smells that I like that would really be off-putting to other people. So again, our goal here is to make it as neutral as possible so that the buyer can see themselves living in that home. So if you're not sure whether or not there's any weird smells going on, ask a friend that you trust and who loves you to come over and say, hey, objectively, do you smell anything weird in the home? Is there anything off-putting that you would say? Have them walk through the home just to make sure you have a neutral third party that can give you some insight. And if there are, get some things that are neutral in terms of smell. So you can do plugins and things like that that have more of a linen type smell where it's very, very light. And maybe a lot of times smells will hide in soft surfaces, so carpets, curtains, things like that. So you may want to consider doing a deep clean just so you have a nice fresh smell that's going to welcome those potential buyers into your home. It may sound silly, but it can be off-putting, and the first impression is critical. You can't make a first impression a second time, right? And so making sure that it's neutral, not only visually, but also as in terms of how it smells, that's also an important factor. You don't want anything that's going to be off-putting to the buyer. Okay, now we're at number five. Number five is inflexible terms. In today's market, you do want to be a little bit flexible. So be open to negotiations, be open to maybe having some contingencies if it makes sense for your situation, throwing in certain fixtures or appliances, things like that. You want to make sure, obviously, that you're getting the best deal that you can out of your investment, out of your home. But at the same time, you want to make sure that you're a little bit flexible in terms of sticking to the things that are most important to you. But if it's a smaller thing, not a huge issue, be flexible. That's going to go a long way and create the best experience for you as you're preparing to move on to the next season. All right, now we're at number four. So number four is delayed or uncompleted repairs. And so again, look at your home objectively and make sure that everything looks tidy, especially in this North Dallas area where essentially a lot of sellers are competing with brand new construction where the home has been professionally designed and it's beautiful and it smells great and all the things that you want to experience when you're coming into a new home and trying to envision your life there are present. So you're competing with that. And so even small things like maybe you have a cat and there's a little rip in the carpet, that some buyers will look at that and like, well, I got to replace the entire carpet, where really it's a small repair. But they will use that to attempt to negotiate down on the price. And a lot of times they will overestimate. Maybe that repair realistically would cost $20, but they want to drop the price down $200 to repair that. You don't want any reason for them to increase that. If they do make an offer on your home, increase that repair list. So take a look at your home, make sure there's a lot of things that you can do, just touch up things to make sure it shows cleanly. Don't underestimate those little torn carpets or that scuff mark, those things like that. Again, if you're in the North Dallas area, look objectively at it. You are competing in many cases with brand new constructions who have that brand new home smell. And so make sure that you're able to compete on that same level to be able to get the right buyer into your home. Number three is inadequate marketing. So never before was it easier for folks to be able to get exposed to different properties on the market. And the way they mostly do that is online. So the internet is the very first place. That's why I said earlier that it's really important to have really good pictures because that is your first impression when you're brought to market. And so you also want to make sure that you're working with a realtor who is able to make sure not only that they're doing open houses and all the traditional things of marketing the property, but making sure they're putting it on social media as well, that they have a bit of a social media following that they can share with their network to be able to get you just the right buyer. properties are sold as a result of exposure. So the more exposure that your agent can get you, the better off you are, and the more likely it is that you may be in a situation where you have multiple offers to choose from. And really, that's what you want. You want the best buyer for the property that's going to not only take care of the property and love the property, be a good addition to your neighborhood if you like your neighbors, but also bring you the best offer. And so really using all the things at their disposal. So networking and having broker open houses, having, public open houses, even doing open houses just for those neighbors. Because a lot of times you may have neighbors that have family members that they would love to live close to them. So making sure your agent is doing a full marketing campaign for your property. It's not about just going out, putting on the MLS and then waiting for the offers to come through anymore. You really have to have somebody that's going to be there marketing your property and being there, your chief marketing officer of your highest asset in most cases, and making sure that they know what they're doing. So that's another big one, is marketing. Make sure it's done well so that you can get the offers and you can get the buyer that you need for your home. The number 2 reason why your home may not be selling is just poor presentation. So let's go back to those photos. So remember, I talked about it's important to make sure that the photos show your home in the best possible light. Well, here's the thing. You don't want to catfish the buyers. What do I mean? Well, you don't want your property listings to look better than your actual home. And so they need to match. So you want to make sure that you're giving a good and accurate representation of what your home looks like. And so again, think about your home no longer as a home, but is now a property. You have to depersonalize it. So I would recommend taking down any family photos, any personal items. You want the home to be as neutral as possible. And that might be a little heartbreaking, but you're moving anyway. And so you need the process of emotionally detaching from your home. And so decluttering, depersonalizing the home. So again, what I mean by that is look at it objectively. Anything you don't absolutely need, take off the counters. Make sure it's clean. Any personal photos of your family hanging up prominently anywhere in the home, I would recommend taking those down. Any unique colors, pinks, purples, yellows, bright colors, I would recommend going with a neutral palette. So either whites or a light gray, something like that. You want to make sure that your home is presenting in the best possible light. And so that's one way to do it. Declutter, clean thoroughly, maybe have a cleaning service come in and do a really deep clean for you, and make sure that it's as depersonalized as possible. Again, you're trying to get the buyer to see themselves living in that space. And so in order to do that, they can't be looking at your family photos and imagining what your life was like there. They need to imagine what their family life is going to be like living in that home. So make sure to declutter, depersonalize, make sure the presentation matches what's online. All right, we made it number 1. So the number 1 reason why your home may not be selling in 2023 is, probably already know what I'm going to say here, is overpriced. And so the market right now is so dynamic, it's changing, it's a little volatile. And so it's really important more than ever to price your property properly. So you're not trying to be at the highest end of the highest home ever sold in your neighborhood, because what's going to wind up happening is your home is going to sit. So think about it from the buyer's standpoint. If you're a buyer and you see a home and you love the home and you're interested in making an offer, and you notice that the home has been on the market for 2 days, and you're like, oh my goodness, I love this home, I need to make an offer. What kind of offer are you going to make? Let's talk about on the opposite side. You love this home, you're interested in the home, you're ready to make an offer, and the home has been on the market for 98 days. What kind of offer are you going to make? Right? See where I'm getting at? The longer the home is on the market, the more likely it is that any buyer that does, once it's been sitting, does make an offer, chances are great they're going to come in lower than list price. And so what you want is as soon as that, it's kind of like if you think about it, if you've ever fed goldfish or koi fish, you throw the food in the lake or in the water and they all come swarming and they're fighting for it. Essentially, that's kind of what you want for your home. But once the food starts to sit there and it starts to get soggy and starts to disintegrate, less and less fish come. And so the fish that does come, it's like, oh, well, I'll give you, I'll take this, not because I'm excited about it, but I want to see if I can get a good deal, or it's just easy, right? And so that's what you don't want, right? So really important to price your property properly. Say that 5 times fast. And so running a CMA, doing analysis on the market, understanding where we are in the season. So right now, as of the recording of this video, it's the fall. We're headed into the fall. It's October. And so in October, this is where the market just seasonally starts to slow down. And so if you're in a position where you're pricing your property or putting your property on the market in the fall, you just want to be mindful of that, because a lot of times you're not going to have the same volume of buyers in the market because everybody's thinking about the holidays and shopping and family gatherings and things like that. You just have a fewer buyer pool at that time. So at that point, you really do want to be a little aggressive in terms of your pricing. Now, I'm not saying underprice your property. What I am saying is be realistic about what's happening in the market and the season that we're in. If you want it to sell, make sure that you're working with a realtor that's going to do their research and make sure that you're pricing it properly. So again, you don't want to be the property that's been sitting for 90 days and now you're getting a bunch of lowball offers. You want to be the fresh one that's well priced and has multiple offers on it. So you get to pick and choose which offer you're going to go with that's going to work for you and whatever you have planned for the next chapter of your life. All right, well, that does it. That is the 10 reasons why your home may not be selling 2023 edition. And so hopefully this information has been helpful to you. Hopefully you've walked away with some things that you can do and some tweaks that you can make to try to get your property to sell. If you're in the North Dallas area and you're interested in getting some assistance and interested in working with me, I'd love to be there to help you and help you evaluate what's going on with your home. And so please reach out. I'd be happy to work with you. I think that's it for today. This is the end of this video, and I will see you in the next one.